Hi dear students, how are you all? Very good morning. Welcome back to my class again. Today, students, I am going to explain a new topic, that is tissues. Okay, let us start today's class, students. You know, first of all, what do you mean by tissue? See children, in the previous class we have discussed about the cell and its structure. Cells are considered as the basic structural and the functional units of every living creature. And presence of this microscopic cell is the common unique characteristic of all the organisms. Basing on the number of cells, organisms were classified into two categories, unicellular and multicellular. Here, students, you know, unicellular. Here, uni means single. In that case, organism just having only single cell. Organisms are classified into two types basing on the number of cells. What are those, my dear students? Unicellular and multicellular. First, let us talk about the unicellular. You know, the word uni means single. Here, organism just consists of only single cell in its body. Let me give the example. Amoeba. You might have idea about the amoeba structure, right? So, amoeba is having just irregular shape, unicellular. It is filled with the cytoplasm and it is surrounded by a membrane called plasma membrane, and it is filled with a fluid-like substances called cytoplasm. At the center it is having the nucleus. Okay. Amoeba is a unicellular prokaryotic cell. So, all the metabolic reactions, all the main basic functions such as nutrition, circulation, digestion, all these things are carried out by our single cell here. So, and let us talk about the multicellular. Organisms having the more than one is multicellular. So, here in the multicellular cells we can see the presence of more and more cells in the body of every living creature. Example, plants and animals. Plants and animals. So, as these multicellular cells are having more and more cells, I said, so here work is distributed among the cells. Okay, for example, I think you know what are the basic functions: nutrition, digestion, excretion, circulation. In this way, so many basic functions has to be performed by the living creature every day. Okay, so as it is having more and more cells, there is a work distribution among the cells. Okay, so here the cells are unite to form a tissues. Cells are unite to form a tissues. What do you mean by tissues, children? Tissue means a group of cells. They will compactly arranged together. They are going to perform a similar task or a different tasks. Okay, that is tissue. In the multicellular cells, the organism is going to organized in this way. Like different cells will combine to form a tissues. Tissues will combine to form an organ, and next organ system. Next to this, complete organism. So many times I have explained this way of organization in the multicellular organisms. It's very, very important thing. Like cells combine to form a tissue, tissue again combine to form an organ and organ system, and next finally organism. Let us talk, students. Cells are present, like liver is the one of the important organ in the human. You know, cells, there are different cells are there. Okay, the cells of the liver are called hepatocytes. Hepatocytes. So different hepatocytes will combine to form tissue. Liver tissue will form, and again it will form a organ. So this is the liver. Alone liver can carry out all the functions. No, liver is a gland. Okay, the largest gland in the human body is the liver. It is simply acting as associated gland, so the secretions of this gland helps for the process of digestion and metabolism. So this liver is a part of digestive system. Digestive system. The main function of the liver is, students, detoxification. It is going to convert the toxic substances into less toxic substances. So in this way, finally, organism. So only liver digestive system can form a complete organism? No. So we have circulatory system, excretory system, nervous system. In this way, so many different organs will function together to form a complete organ system. Then we'll get a complete organism. So hepatocytes, tissues, liver, organ system, organism. This is the organization in our humans. Okay. Now first let us move on to the tissues. See, an aggregation of similarly specialized cells which together performs a specialized function are called tissue. Aggregation of different cells, specialized cells which function together and they'll be performing a special functions are called tissues. For example, see students, this is the cells. Okay, and you know each cell consists of nucleus, and inside the cell it is having the cytoplasm. At the center it is having the nucleus. Understand? This is the definition of the tissues. You know, children, this is the structure of cell. Okay, and different this way of cells, this type of cells will combine to form a tissue. This is the tissue. Here see, this is one tissue, cell. A group of cells compactly arranged, they'll function together and they'll be aimed to function a specialized task, that is tissue. You know, tissues are of different types and the way of arrangement, cells, tissue formation is differ from plant to animal. Okay, so why difference is there in between the tissues of plant tissue as well as the animal tissue? Let me give the clarification about that point. Plants and animals. Only important thing I want to say that, so plant is the stable, whereas animal can move from one place to other place. This is the main reason for different tissues. Let me explain. So, plant should stay at same place only. So, it has to withstand adverse conditions which are shown by the environment or nature, like sudden waves, like cyclones, tufans and all. So, all these are the adverse effects given by the nature. So, all these things should be adopted by the plant. That is the reason plant tissue is somewhat hard when compared to the animal tissue. Understand? See, the tissues are of different in the plants as well as the animals. First, students, let us discuss plant tissues, then we'll go for animal tissues. Here, plant tissue is again divided into two types. Plant tissue. First type is meristematic tissue. I'll write in. First, let us talk about plant tissue, students. Plant tissue is divided into two types. First type is meristematic tissue and the second type is permanent tissue. Meristematic tissue, it is how the cells are going to divide repeatedly. And here the division of the cells is stops. Okay. Again, here the cells are in the meristematic tissue, cells are having the capability of the cell division, whereas our simple permanent tissue, they are not capable, incapable of division. Incapable of division. This meristematic tissue is again three types, children. Apical, lateral and intercalary. Intercalary. These are the three different types of meristematic tissues. Again, permanent tissue is also of two types, simple and complex. Simple tissue and complex tissue. Simple tissue, again three types. Parenchyma, collenchyma and sclerenchyma. Sclerenchyma. Complex tissue, two types, xylem and phloem, students. These are the different tissues present in the plants. Basically, the plant tissue is divided into two types, meristematic, permanent. Meristematic again apical, lateral, intercalary. Permanent tissue divide into simple and the complex. Simple again divide into parenchyma, collenchyma and sclerenchyma. Complex is again divided into xylem and phloem. So this is the different tissues we can see in plants. Now let us discuss these tissues individually one by one. First, let us talk about the meristematic tissue. Okay. Meristematic tissues are composed of cells that divide continuously. Here the cells are having more efficiency of division. They are capable of division. They will be dividing continuously. That is the main unique feature of our meristematic tissue. Second, these cells are spherical, oval and polygonal or rectangular in shape. Most of the cells are spherical, oval, polygonal and rectangular in shape. Cell wall is thin and made up of the cellulose. Here, you know, children, cell is surrounded by the plasma membrane, and outside of the plasma membrane, it is again surrounded by a tough layer called cell wall, and the cell wall is made up of structural material known as cellulose. It is one of the polysaccharide. The cells are closely arranged without any intercellular spaces. For example, if the cells are spherical in shape, the cells were very closely, compactly arranged. There are no spaces between the two different cells. Cytoplasm is abundant and nuclei is large. So, cytoplasm is abundant. So, more quantity of cytoplasm is available with large nucleus at the center. Vacuoles are absent and if present, very few. Generally, meristematic tissue, vacuoles are absent, students. If they are present, means very few in number. These are the different points about meristematic tissue. Next, I said no, there are three different types of meristematic tissues were there. Right? What are those? Apical meristem. The tip portion of the particular thing is having the apical meristem, and next one is lateral meristem. So, this particular part is called lateral meristem. Intercalary, the tissue is present in is called intercalary meristem. Apical, intercalary and lateral. Let us discuss about this apical and all. First of all, let us talk about apical meristem. You know, generally the apical meristem is to be present at the tip portions like root tips or shoot tip. You just see the previous picture. The tip portions we can see the presence of apical meristem, and the function of it is to increase the length of axis. So, the apical meristem helps the plant to grow vertically, or it helps in the increasing the length of plant. Understood? Now, intercalary meristems. Here, the position of these intercalary meristems, they were present mostly on lateral side of stem and root. And you just see the lateral side, we can see the presence of lateral meristem. This is lateral meristem mainly helps the plant to grow increase the diameter of the plant. So, I mean to say the girth of the plant can be increased. Okay, the diameter. Okay. Next, intercalary meristems. You just see the location of intercalary meristems at the base of leaf or internodes or leaf. So, generally this meristem is present in the space which is present between the two nodes is called internode, where we can see this intercalary meristem, and it helps in the increase of length of plant and its organ. So, by what, children? So, simply this intercalary meristem helps in the space which is present between the two nodes. This is one node and this one is the second node, right? And the space present between these two nodes is called internode. Here our intercalary meristem helps in the increasing the length of the plant of these internodes. Understand? This is about the apical meristem, intercalary, lateral. Now children, we discussed about their location and we discussed even about their functions also. Very, very important. It is a damn sure expected question for 4 marks in NCERT board examinations. So you have to present this question along with the diagram. Very easy and very simple to get full marks. Understand? Next. Over. Now, see, diagrammatic representation once again of our stem apex and the root apex, the tip regions. Let us discuss the functions of the meristematic tissue. Functions of meristematic tissues. The main function of meristematic tissue is to continuously form a number of new cells and help in the growth. The main function of our meristematic tissue, students, growth and development. And it is also helps in the formation of permanent tissue. Permanent tissue. It helps in the formation of permanent tissue. Okay, that's all for meristematic tissue. Let us start with permanent tissue. Here, when the cells are formed by meristematic tissue, take up a specific role and lose the ability of the divide. Very, very important thing. Permanent tissue, the cells which are present in the permanent tissue, simply they are incapable of division. They lost the efficiency of the division, and this process is taking up a permanent shape, size, and the function is called differentiation. Here, the cells were decide to function a particular function so that it takes permanent shape and the size. So there are no changes further in the particular shape or size. So they will be assigned to do particular function. That is nothing but differentiation. Differentiation. Cells of meristematic tissue differentiate to form different types of permanent tissue. Here the cells of meristematic tissue, they were differentiated, means they were decided to do so and so works. So work distribution is going to be allotted towards the different cells. So they will be organized in the permanent tissue. Okay, that is the reason. So they will be having the fixed size, shape, and they will be fixed having the specific functions. Okay, that is about the permanent tissue, students. Let us see the different types of permanent tissue. Already we discussed simple and complex, right? Simple and complex. Under simple, parenchyma, collenchyma and sclerenchyma. What are those? Paren, collen and sclerenchyma. Now, let us discuss about the simple tissue. Simple permanent tissue. Simple tissue is made up of one type of cell that form homogeneous or uniform mass. Here, in the simple means just it is having one type of cells. One type of cells. They will be forming homogeneous mass. Simple plant tissue includes parenchyma, collenchyma and sclerenchyma. This one type of cells will unite to form homogeneous mass. Homogeneous mass or uniform. First, let us discuss about the parenchyma. Cells are isodiametric, that is equally expanded on all the sides. Here, the cells are isodiametric. They are equally expanded all over the sides. They may be oval, round, polygonal or elongated in shape. Nucleus is present, hence they are living. The cells are present at the center, they will be having the nucleus. Hence, because of the presence of this nucleus, we can say that they are the living cells. All the simple tissue cells are living cells. I'm asking about the parenchyma. telling about the parenchyma. Cell walls are thin and made up of the cellulose. Here the cell walls are so thin and made up of a special cell wall material, that is cellulose. Cytoplasm is dense within a single large vacuole. Here students, for example, this is the cell and they'll be having the single large vacuole. What is this students? Vacuole. Next, intercellular spaces may be present. So, you just see the figure here, and the red ones are the cells and these are the interstitial spaces may present. Okay. May contains chlorophyll. Parenchyma which contains chlorophyll or collenchyma. What is that? Chlorenchyma. If the parenchyma having the chlorophyll pigment, that is called chlorenchyma. Types of parenchyma. How many types generally we have, children? There were 2 types. What are those? Eirenchyma and chlorenchyma. Just now we discussed, right? Okay, if the parenchyma is having the chlorophyll pigment, that is chlorenchyma. Eirenchyma means here they'll be having the large air spaces between the cells. This is the chlorenchyma. We can see this particular tissue in the leaves, and this is the cross section of the leaf, the TS of the leaf, and upper epidermis, lower epidermis, palisade parenchyma, spongy parenchyma. Here they are having the vascular bundles. Next, occurrence. Found in the cortex of root, ground tissues in the stem and the mesophyll of the leaves. So, where do our parenchyma cells present mostly? They will be present in the cortex of the root, ground tissue in the stem and the mesophyll cells of the leaf. So, these were the intracellular spaces we can see in between the different cells. Function of parenchyma. Functions of parenchyma. The main function of parenchyma cells is storage, stores and assimilates the food. Means oxygenation of the food material liberates the energy. So storaging, at the same time it is also going to carry out the assimilation of the food. Very, very important, right? So, and along with that it is giving mechanical strength by maintaining the turgidity. So it can withstand. So it is also gives the mechanical strength and support to the plant. Prepares food if chlorophyll is present, you know. So mesophyll cells of leaf consists of a special pigment called chlorophyll. And so this chlorophyll plays very, very crucial role in the process of photosynthesis. So this chlorophyll pigment helps in the catching of the sunlight during the daytime, so it receives the light energy. Light energy is the energy required to initiate the photosynthetic reaction. It prepares the food if the chlorophyll is present. So it is confined to only mesophyll cells of the leaf, right? And stores wastewater products like waste products like tannin, gum, crystals and the resins. Other functions of our parenchyma, it stores waste products such as tannin, gum, crystals and resins. Collenchyma. The cells are elongated and are circular, oval, polygonal in cross section. So some are elongated, circular, and see, these are the circular and these are the elongated cells. Right? Here cell wall is unevenly thickened with cellulose at corners. Again is the intercellular spaces. So you just see here cellulose is unevenly thickened at the corners. So unevenly thickened at the corners due to the presence of cell wall material, that is cellulose. Collenchyma we are discussing. Nucleus is present, hence tissue is living. Vacuoles are small, intracellular spaces are generally absent. So in the parenchyma may present, here intracellular spaces are generally absent. There are no intracellular spaces. If they contain chlorophyll, they are known as chlorenchyma. Next, occurrence. So found under the skin below the epidermis of the dicot stem. Generally it is present in the below the epidermis of the dicot stem. Okay, see, epidermal hairs, epidermis, hypodermis, endodermis, pericycle, cambium, xylem, phloem and the cortex. Functions. Provides mechanical support. Being extensible, these cells are ready to adapt themselves to the rapid elongation of the stem. So they will be having the good quality of extensibility. So they will be helps in the rapid elongation of the stem. Next, the third type of tissue of simple is sclerenchyma. Nature, let us discuss. Cells are long, narrow, thick, lignified, usually pointed at both ends. Okay, so they are cells are narrow, long, lignified, usually pointed at the both ends. So, for example, thick, long, usually they are pointed at both the ends. Cell wall is evenly thickened with lignin and sometimes so thick that the cell cavity or the lumen is absent. They were somewhat so thick. Okay, in such case, lumen is absent. Nucleus is absent, hence these tissues are made up of dead cells. Here in the sclerenchyma, very important to be remember that nucleus is absent. Nucleus is absent. Understand? They have simple, often oblique pits in the walls. The middle lamellae, that is the wall between the adjacent cells, is called conspicuous. So the middle lamellae, the wall between the adjacent cells is conspicuous and they have simple, often oblique pits in their walls. These are the different features of sclerenchyma. Next, occurrence. Found abundantly in the stems of plants like hemp, jute and coconut. Hemp, jute and coconut. It is present in the stems around the vascular plants, in the leaves, hard coverings of the seeds and the nuts. Generally, this sclerenchyma present in the hard coverings of the seeds and the nuts. So, see students, this is the nut. Okay, this is the nut and these are the leaves. So, they will be present around the vascular bundles of the vascular plants, and it's also present in the monocot stem. Functions. Gives mechanical support to the plant, giving rigidity, flexibility, elasticity to the plant body. So, very important, no? So, it gives mechanical support plant, and by giving what and what? By giving rigidity, flexibility and elasticity. So these are the cell, students. See, these are the cells and this is the cell wall. And at the center, they will be having the lumen. Fibers and sclerites. Fibers and sclerites. Sclerenchyma cells are usually elongated with tapering ends. Such cells are commonly described as sclerenchyma fibers. So generally, if the cells are somewhat elongated in shape, or so they'll be having the tapering ends. They'll be having the tapering ends. Such type of sclerenchyma cells are called sclerenchyma fibers. Sclerites. Cells are shorter irregular in shape, such cells are commonly described as sclerites or stone cells. What are these? Sclerites or stone cells. Cells are short and irregular in shape. Here the cells are usually elongated with the tapering ends are called fibers. Cells are short of irregular shape are called sclerites. These are the different sclerenchyma cells. Now let us talk about the sclerites now. Sclerites are also called as stone cells or sclerotic cells, occurring most common in the fruits and the seeds. These sclerites most commonly available or present in the fruits as well as seeds. Structure. Cells are short, isodiametric, spherical, and it's shaped or cylindrical in shape, usually have thick lignified secondary cell wall, occur singular in loose groups, functions, protects the plant from stress and strains from environment. Simply, sclerites protect the plant from stress and strain from the environment and provides mechanical strength and rigidity, provides crispness to the pulp of the fruit. So, this is about the sclerites, students. Let us see the differences between parenchyma, collenchyma and sclerenchyma. Let us see in the parenchyma. Cells are thin-walled, only primary wall is present. Only primary wall is present. Thick primary wall at corners. Thick-walled. Sclerenchymas are thick-walled. Thick-walled. Cells are loosely arranged. Cells are loosely arranged. Here the cells are compactly arranged. Here also cells are compactly arranged. Cells are having living. There will be nucleus is present. Here also in the collenchyma nucleus is seen. But in the case of sclerenchyma, nucleus is present. So that's the reason we'll call them as a dead cells, devoid of cellular contents. Spherical, polygonal, oval, rectangular in shape. Shapes are variable in the collenchyma. Generally shapes are elongated in the sclerenchyma. Many intercellular spaces are present. Intercellular spaces are absent. Absent in the third case, that is in the sclerenchyma. Cells are vacuolated. Vacuoles absent. Vacuole is absent. These are the different differences between the parenchyma, collenchyma and sclerenchyma. Let us see the diagrammatic representation of different tissues, that is parenchyma tissue, collenchyma and the sclerenchyma. The cross section you just observe. So cells generally oval, spherical or polygonal in shape of our parenchyma. Intercellular spaces are present. Okay. Here if you see the cross section of the collenchyma, here the cell wall is made up of cellulose. Here also cells are compactly arranged. There were no intercellular spaces, mostly irregular shape. The cells are irregular in shape, and here in this case pure lumen. So cells are so thick and they'll be having more thickened at the corners. Okay, and no intercellular spaces at all. Here the longitudinal section, this is the cross section and this is the longitudinal sections. See, thin primary cell wall, here we can see thick primary cell wall, thick secondary cell wall. These are the different types of plant tissues: parenchyma, collenchyma and sclerenchyma. I hope I covered maximum points of simple and permanent tissue of our plants. In the next class, I am going to explain about the complex tissue, that is xylem and the phloem. Understand? So, in the meanwhile, students, you need to practice the mind map of this different tissues, classification of different tissues in the plant tissue, on what basis they were classified, what is the importance of the tissue. You should learn and try to practice this mind map minimum 2 or 3 times. Definitely you can get whole the lesson, okay, today itself. Okay, all? That's all for today, and I am going to explain in the next class about Simple tissues we discussed, right? Parenchyma, collenchyma, and sclerenchyma. In the next class, let us discuss about the complex tissue, that is about xylem and the phloem. They are very interesting. Okay, let us meet in the next class, students. Thank you all. Thank you so much.